Hello, this is the Daily Bread Guide message of Pastor David. Today's scripture is Ezekiel chapter 27. So the title of Ezekiel 27 can be the lament for Tyre. So what is the pride? What is the arrogance? What is the mistake of Tyre? Is it a sin to be jealous of God's chosen people, God's chosen Israel? No, it's okay to be. It's natural to feel the jealousy or feel that that they want to be the chosen people of God. However, their mistake was that they ignored God's plan for the nations, and they envied Israel, and they had. As a result, they hated Israel, and they tried to take the role of Israel. And that is the reason why when Israel was destroyed, when Jerusalem was destroyed, Tyre was laughing at them. They didn't have the compassionate heart, or they didn't have the heart to see the fulfillment of the vision of God. They only thought about themselves, and that was the reason of the judgment of God. Today's chapter can be divided into 3 paragraphs. Verse 1 to 11, the splendor of the ship Tyre. Verse 12 to 25, the wealth and the trading partners of Tyre. Verse 26 and 36, the shipwreck of Tyre. So let's go to verse 1. It says, "The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, take up a lament concerning Tyre." So God is making a lament for Tyre, and that explains that this is the will of God to judge Tyre. And after that, God describes Tyre as the most beautiful ship and the most skillfully made ship. Verse 3 explains what Tyre was in front of God. "Say to Tyre, situated at the gateway to the sea, merchant of people on many coasts." Verse 4, this is what the sovereign Lord says. "You say, Tyre, I am perfect in beauty." So they were the gateway to the sea. So they were really powerful at the sea, and also because of that, they were the merchant of people on many coasts, and they became so wealthy because of that. And they say, "I am perfect in beauty." So they were boasting about their wealth and the strength. Verse 4 says, even God says, "Your domain was on the high seas. Your builders brought your beauty to perfection." Even God says you were beautiful. And verse 5 to 11 explains how beautiful Tyre was. So they were built beautifully. The Tyre was built beautifully. However, and also verse 12 to 25 explains the trading partners of Tyre. That includes the northern Africa, Italy, Greece, basically all the nations around the Mediterranean Sea. So Tyre was the center of the trading, center of the merchandising, and this was a great city. It was an island. Verse 26 to 36. However, although they possessed so much of a wealth, there is a shipwreck of Tyre, and the nations scoff at Tyre. verse 26 says, "Your oarsmen take you out to the high seas, but the east wind will break you to pieces far out at sea." So God says, although you are wealthy, but you will fall in one day when the wind of the Lord blows on you. And also verse 35 to 36 says, all who live in the coastlands are appalled at you. The kings shudder with horror, and their faces are distorted with fear. The merchants among the nations scoff at you. You have come to a horrible end and will be no more. So this end of today's chapter describes that the Tyre will be a subject of scoffing. People will see the fall of Tyre and they will be happy and glad about it. They will laugh at them. And this is exactly what Tyre did to Israel. God is saying, you will reap as you sow. So beloved saints, beloved brothers and sisters, do not be glad, do not be happy when you see your competitors suffer. This is not the God's personality. This is not the way of mishpat and tzedakah. And also we can see that when God judges, he also can use the natural disaster, and people have no power to overcome it, to prevent from it. In fact, from the time of Ezekiel, Tyre was invaded by foreign empires three times. So Babylon firstly tried to invade Tyre, and also Persia attacked Tyre, but they couldn't prevail because Tyre was an island nation, and they possessed a great navy force. But thirdly, Greece, the Hellenian Empire, King Alexander attacked Tyre, and he finally conquered in BC 333. And when King Alexander was attacking Tyre, it was also difficult for him. So what Alexander did was he destroyed all the coastal city of Tyre, and then he used the leftover the materials from this destroyed city of Tyre, and he built a way on a sea by bringing all the ground into the sea, and then they made a way for the military force, and they finally conquered Tyre. And the historian says King Alexander killed at least 2,000 people from Tyre, and sold 30,000 as slaves. So what is the message of God for today's chapter? We must not be proud of ourselves. We must not be arrogant. And secondly, the Tyre had the confidence in their nation, in their possession, and also in their power, in their strength. They said, we are mighty in the sea, so no one can touch us. But at the end, they were judged by God. So I want to urge us to think about what we are relying on to. Do we rely on our bank account? Do we rely on our education? Do we rely on job? We must not rely on them too much. We can like it. We can enjoy the blessing of God. However, we must not rely on ourselves, our possessions. Even if it's from the Lord, even if it's a blessing, all our situation, all our wealth and possessions and education, good friends and good family, they are all the blessing of God. We can be thankful for it. However, we must not rely on what we possess, because it can be destroyed. It can be gone in one day. We must be humble. The message today message from Ezekiel 27 is that we must be always awake. So I bless you all, saints. Be aware of the pride and self-confidence. You must be careful not to have the pride, not to have the arrogance, and not to have the self-confidence. Even the strong power and the wealth of Tyre was collapsed, was destroyed. So I bless you all to be good to your neighbors. When you see the suffering of your neighbor, suffering of not just your friends but your competitors, when they fall into problems, do not laugh at them, do not scoff at them, but be generous and be helpful for them, and also be humble and bless your neighbors. I bless you all to be the channel of the blessing, channel of the heaven in your places. This is the end of Pastor David's message, and I bless you all and have a great day. Goodbye.